Time for Dodger Baseball. Live from Dodger Stadium, Prime Ticket presents the Dodgers as they take on the Florida Marlins. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant Friday evening to you, wherever you may be. Dodgers home from a rough road trip that saw them lose 4 out of 6, and so they're trying to get well tonight as they open up a 3-game series against the Florida Marlins. The Marlins, a better team on the road than they are at home statistically, and they come in here having already beaten the Dodgers 2 out of 3 in Florida. Last year, they managed to beat the Dodgers 4 of 6. The pitching, John Garland with a record of 1-4, but he usually pitches exceptionally well against Florida. He is 5-1 lifetime. Opposition batting average against him, 206. On the mound for Florida will be the veteran Javier Vasquez, 5-6 lifetime. We'll have it all coming up. Pull up a chair. We'll be back right after this.
Manuel, celebrate your birthday this year at San Manuel Indian Bingo and Casino and receive a special birthday package. Visit sanmanuel.com for details. You must be 21 to enter the casino. Welcome back. Getting you set for Dodgers baseball. Florida Marlins in town for the start of 3 as we get to our Hyundai keys to the game. Well, that left side of the infield is back for only the 3rd time together all season. Rafael Furcal tonight will be his 5th game since his return from the DL with that broken thumb. And Casey Blake activated today from the DL. His last game, April 24th. He had that left elbow staph infection with Steve Lyons. So certainly nice to see these two guys back hitting 1-2 in the order. Just hope that it pays dividends early.
It is good to have them back because they're very, very close right now to having the lineup that they're supposed to have on the field right now. The only real difference is Uribe's still out. Jamie Carroll's in there. Now, I get the fact that Uribe's a middle-of-the-order hitter, supposed to hit the ball out of the park and supposed to make the other guys better, but Jamie Carroll's a guy who busts his tail every day. He's hitting over 300. He's hitting at the back back half of the order, Uribe only had 3 home runs and was hitting .220. Bottom line is, enough of the offensive problems now. You have your lineup basically on the field now. That has to end. They have to score more runs.
Both these guys coming back perhaps early. Maybe Mattingly wanted to see some more time in the minors, but guess what? You have no choice to have these 2 guys out there in the lineup. There you see John Garland, 5-1 in his career versus the Marlins.
Of that here at Dodger Stadium in 2009 as the enthusiastic supporters were on hand.
The Hyundai Assurance Trade-in Value Guarantee. See your Hyundai dealer for details. By Shakey's, win a pizza party for 10. Go to Shakey's.com. By CarMax, now more than ever, the smart choice is CarMax. And by AT&T. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good evening to you where you are on this Friday night. The Dodgers home with the Florida Marlins to begin a 6-game homestand, 3 with the Marlins, and then the Colorado Rockies come in before the Dodgers move back out on the road to go on a long trip to Cincinnati, Philadelphia, and Colorado. So for the Dodgers, humbled a bit on the road trip, losing 4 out of 6, going ahead with a ball club that's been playing very well, and that would be the Florida Marlins. They're not only 15-7 on the road under Edwin Ramirez's hands, but they've also won 5 straight on the road. They are 14-4 in one-run games, and they've been playing an awful lot of games close to the vest. They've had 29 games where have been decided by 2 runs or less. Here's the Marlins lineup for tonight. Chris Coghlan leads off in center field. Hanley Ramirez at shortstop, and Logan Morrison in left field. Gabby Sanchez at first base, Greg Dobbs at third, Mike Stanton in right field, John Buck the catcher, Omar Infante at second base, and Javier Vasquez on the mound. On the mound for the Dodgers, John Garland with a record of 1-4. However, he has pitched very tough against the Marlins. He is 5-1 lifetime against Florida with an earned run average of 2.3. And he has held the Marlins in the past to a batting average collectively of 206. So John Garland, who has been toughest against the Marlins, takes the hill tonight to try and turn the Dodger fortunes around. Take a look at the Dodgers with the leather behind him and a couple of familiar faces and names wear the blue here at Dodger Stadium. In the outfield, Gibbons, Kemp, and Ethier. Casey Blake and Rafael Furcal united on the left side of the infield. And, of course, the right side, Jamie Carroll and James Loney. And Rod Barajas returns. But for Casey Blake, long time no see. Blake, who went out on April the 25th, at least the injury was rectoactive. Remember, he had the infection of the elbow. And so his first game since April 24th. And, of course, Rafael Furcal is also a little rusty at shortstop. Casey having fun with third base umpire Jim Wolf, and we're about ready. Garland into the windup, and the first pitch to Chris Coghlan is low. 1 ball and no strikes. Coghlan was the Rookie of the Year in 2009. He hit .321. He's hitting just .242 right now, and he takes 2 pitches low and a 2-ball no strike count. He was a Marlins first-round pick out of the University of Mississippi. Now Garland's 2-0 pitch on the way. Coghlan takes low, and the count runs 3-0. So John Garland with a record of 1-4, although he's pitched a little bit better than that. Nevertheless, those are his numbers, and he's 3-0 to Coghlan. Right-hander turns on the rubber, and the 3-0 pitch, and that's in there, inside corner, and a 3-1 count to the left-hand hitter. Coghlan, 6'1", 195-pounder, out of Ole Miss. He's a Maryland boy who lives now in Florida. And the 3-1 pitch pulled on the ground to the right side. Up with it is Carroll to get him, and just like that, we have one away.
Shortstop number 2.
For the Florida Marlins, they're 10 games above 500. They are 1 game behind the Philadelphia Phillies. And Hanley Ramirez coming up. Ramirez hitting .211 with 4 home runs, 17 runs batted in. One of those things for Hanley Ramirez, back in 2009, he hit .342. And you may remember, he was the batting champion in 2009, and that's when he got the necklace. Do you remember that? Pitch low and away, ball 1. Jeffrey Loria, the Marlins owner, was so thrilled over Hanley Ramirez winning the batting crown. He had a necklace made, 394 diamonds in the shape of the numbers 342. Needless to say, he's not wearing it. 1 ball and 1 strike to count to Hanley. He was the Rookie of the Year in 2006. Now the 1-1 pitch, and Ramirez takes way off the plate. Ball 2, 2-1 to count. One of the things that has changed up to now, anyway, Ramirez was a home run hitter. Hit as many as 33 in 2008. Now he hits more ground balls than fly balls. That's a complete reversal of form. He takes a pitch high. So Garland, who fell behind to Coghlan and got him, now falls behind to Ramirez with a 3-1 count. The Marlins have been very successful in the first game of a series, and the fastball is low, and Ramirez goes to first base with a walk. So the runner at first, 1 out. Logan Morrison coming up. As far as the first game of a series is concerned, the Marlins are 13-4, so they get off to the right start in most of the series. And here's Logan Morrison. Logan checks in, hitting .320. He has a half a dozen home runs, 17 runs batted in. His first name really has a story behind it. The left-hand hitter waits, has a look, and the first pitch is low, ball 1. So Garland fighting his control. His first name is Justice, but that name is spelled Justis. And when they asked his father, Tom, what about that first name? And his father said, I wanted more justice in the world. Yeah, that's supposed to be the true quote. And the pitch inside, ball 2, 2-0. By any other name, a good-looking young ball player out of Kansas City, Missouri. He went to the same high school that produced Albert Pujols. And he's big, 6'3", 230. So Hanley Ramirez at first with 1 out. First inning, no score. And the next pitch is low. And so John Garland having a lot of trouble. Went to a count to Coughlin and then got him. Went to that count and walked Ramirez. And he's back 3-0 now to Morrison, who with his half a dozen home runs, 17 RBIs, presents quite a threat. 3-0 pitch coming up. Garland delivers, and that is low. Ball 4. So Garland, with one away, walks the first two batters, and Gabby Sanchez, who's a big RBI guy, coming up. So John has already made his pitches, and he's only had 3 strikes compared to 11 that missed. So Gabby Sanchez coming up. They have a lot of Sanchez on the ball club. They have Gabby. They have Brian Sanchez, who ends his name with an S. They have a pitcher, Anibal Sanchez, as well as Brian. And they have Gabby. He was a business management major at the University of Miami, and he is all business. Sanchez and Mike Stanton have been an RBI machine, and the pitch to Gabby is taken for a strike. In the month of May, Gabby Sanchez has 21 runs batted in. Mike Stanton has 19. So 2 on walks, Ramirez and Morrison. 1 out, first inning, no score. And the strike 1 pitch from John Garland. Right-handed delivers, and it's hit down the right field line, foul, slicing well back into the stands. And the count, no balls and 2 strikes. One thing for Sanchez that has improved from last year, he has been far more successful pulling the ball this year than last. So Sanchez checks in and waits. No balls and 2 strikes the count. Garland looks back at Hanley Ramirez, works the hitter. Little pop fly really into shallow center. Coming in easily to handle it, Matt Kemp. So that wasn't much. Little fly ball. 2 down, runners hold. And Greg Dobbs will be coming up. Greg Dobbs, left-hand batter. They have 3 in the lineup. So Greg, who was born in Los Angeles, lives in Moreno Valley. He is very much of a first ball hitter. And when he does swing at that first pitch, he's hitting .500. So for Garland, who has been behind on a couple of hitters, he has to be careful if he's going to try and get ahead of this hitter. This hitter's liable to unload. Left-hand batter, John set at the belt, checks ready, here he comes, and gets the inside corner at the knee. Big pitch for a guy who's been struggling with his control. Greg Dobbs, 6'1", 205-pounder, originally drafted by the Mariners. He was a 10th round pick out of Long Beach State, didn't sign when the Astros picked him. Then he transferred from Long Beach to the University of Oklahoma, and he had to sit out a year. And when he came back with a bang. Strike 1 pitch on the way, and that's off speed and high. 1 ball and 1 strike. Growing up in California, Dobbs idolized Will Clark and also Ken Griffey Jr. He became the first Seattle player ever to homer in his first major league at bat. That was back in September of 2004. So 2 on, 2 out, first inning, no score. Garland ready, John delivers, works it inside, though he falls behind again. 2-1 the count. On deck, Mike Stanton. No score, we're just starting. Coughlin grounded out, Ramirez and Morrison walk. Sanchez, little fly ball to center, and here's Greg Dobbs on a 2-1 count. Here comes Garland, 2-1, and it's pulled down the right field line, foul, and the count stays now 2-2. Greg Dobbs first came up to the big leagues with the Mariners in '04, so it took him about 4 years to get here. Even then, he had to go back to Tacoma. Eventually, had about 4 years with the Phillies and then the Marlins. So 2-2 with 2 out, 2 on, no score, first inning. John Garland set at the belt, ready, and here he comes, and it's swung on and hit foul outside of first down the line. So for Garland, he's made 22 pitches in the inning. Two and two. Sunset time in Los Angeles as we begin this Memorial Day weekend. Just a reminder, please be careful out there. Have a great weekend. And if you can, come on by. All right, Garland at the belt. Another look at the runners. And the 2-2 pitch coming up. John deals low. Ball 3. So the runners, Ramirez and Morrison, will be going with 2 out. And for Garland, certainly after 23 pitches, it's still a struggle. Ramirez has stolen 10 out of 15. So he's the lead runner. Hanley at second, Morrison at first with 2 out. And the 3-2 pitch coming up is swung on and missed, an off-speed pitch, and Dobbs way out in front of it, and down he goes. So no runs, no hits, 2 left at the end of half an inning. Marlins nothing. Dodgers pitches in the first inning. Let's take a look now at the Dodger lineup. And of course, you get a lift just to see the familiar faces. Leading off the shortstop, Rafael Furcal, followed by third baseman Casey Blake. Then you have Ethier and Kemp just about joined at the hip. Jay Gibbons in left field, James Loney at first, Rod Barajas behind the plate, Jamie Carroll at second base, and John Garland on the mound. On the mound for the Marlins, the veteran, and that would be Javier Vazquez. He is 35 years old in June, from Ponce in Puerto Rico. Has a lot of trouble in the first inning and a lot more on his first pitch. So we'll tell you about that. The first pitch to Rafael Furcal in there for a strike. In Vazquez's career, the highest opponent batting average on any count is the first pitch. However, Furcal just took it. The next one in there, and the count 0-2. The other thing about Vazquez, opponents are hitting .455 in the first inning against him. So he's really had his problems. Strike 2 pitch on the way is a curveball pulled foul down the line. Off speed too at 68 miles an hour, and the count 0-2. So Rafael Furcal went down, tried to hurry up, then hurt his knee, and right now hitting .136 as he tries to get his stroke back. Vazquez straddling the rubber, now he's ready, and the strike 2 pitch is a fastball away, ball 1, 1-2. The weakness for Javier Vasquez this year, and it really jumps out at you, is the difference between he winds up and when he has to pitch from a stretch. Fastball to Furcal is swung on and missed. Somewhat of an awkward swing. Down he goes, and we have one out in the first inning. And now the return of Casey Blake. Blake, whose last game was April the 24th, and now he gets his feet wet. First game back. Vasquez, with no one on base where he can wind up and pitch out of a full windup, the opposition is hitting only .221. And the pitch to Casey, he bunts up along third, foul ball, fielded there quickly by Greg Dobbs, and Casey will come back to try it again. 0-1. But how about this dramatic difference when Vasquez goes from a windup with the bases empty, the opposition hitting .221. With runners on, which means out of a stretch, the opposition is hitting .392. And with runners in scoring position, they're wearing them out, hitting .377. So with all of that, he is 3-4 this year, 5-6 lifetime against the Dodgers. Strike one pitch to Casey is taken for another strike. 0-2. So with John Garland labored from behind, Vasquez has jumped out in front. So Blake waiting, 0-2 the count. Vasquez turns on the rubber. Javier delivers fastball away, 1-2. He's 6'2" and 210, and is very much vulnerable to the home run ball. In fact, when you talk about home runs allowed among active pitchers, he's only behind Tim Wakefield of Boston. A drive right into the glove of center fielder Chris Coughlin, and that'll do it for Casey Blake. 2 out, and the battle will be Andre Ethier. Tim Wakefield of the Red Sox has given up 397 home runs. Javier Vasquez is second. He's given up 357 home runs. And to see so far this year, well, he's given up 5 more already in 9 starts. Andre Ethier is hitting .311, but he usually hits better than that against Florida. And the first pitch to Andre is fouled back to the screen. Ethier in his career against the Marlins hitting .364. Bottom of the first inning, no score. Marlins had 2 on, only to have Sanchez fly to center and Dobbs strike out. Now the Dodgers trying to come back. The strike one pitch taken in there, 0-2. The veteran, the crew chief, the plate umpire, Darrell Cousins, calling balls and strikes. All he's had is 32 years as a major league umpire. Now the strike two pitch to Andre Ethier off the plate, ball 1, 1-2. The Dodgers with Garland tonight, Kuroda tomorrow night, and Kershaw Sunday afternoon. The Marlins are not sure about Saturday, but Ricky Nolasco is definitely going to pitch on Sunday. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Ethier swung on and missed out of the dirt, so the catcher John Beck has to throw down to first, and that'll do it for Ethier. So 2 strikeouts for Javier Vasquez, and at the end of an inning, no score. And we go to the second inning, no score. And what a difference from John Garland, as Garland's first pitch is low, ball one. It seemed like Garland was 3-0 on everybody in the house in the first inning. Vasquez faced 3 batters and was 0-2 on each of them. The 1-0 pitch on the way is off the plate, so John is behind again, 2-0. He walked Ramirez and Morrison and got out of it. Now struggling with local boy Mike Stanton. Now the 2-0 pitch, and Mike takes a strike. Stanton, a highly sought-off fella, and everybody calls him Mike, but that's not his name. And he has a name that might surprise you. The 2-1 pitch, fouled at the plate, 2-2. His first name is Giancarlo. That's a long way from Mike. Lives in Sherman Oaks. Now the 2-2 pitch coming up. Stanton with a lot of power. Had 22 home runs for the Marlins last year. Drives one to right. Ethier going back to the track, running to the wall, and backhands it on the dead run. Fine play by Andre Ethier, as Mike Stanton, who is 6'5" and about 250, really got a hold of it. Ethier had to go back, then he had to go to his left, and then he had to backhand the ball at his knee right in front of the Marlin bullpen. Wonderful play by Andre Ethier, and we have 1 out in the second inning. With 1 away, it's the catcher John Buck coming up. And the first pitch to John, as usual, with Garland outside, ball 1. John Buck out of Kemmerer, Wyoming. Raised in Salt Lake City, originally drafted by the Astros, lives in Arizona now, fouls it away. Even though he is a baseball player, he was saying he once attended a clinic by Carl the Mailman Malone. Astros signed him when he was 17. John came up to the Royals in 04, stayed with him for 6 years. 1-1 pitch, Buck fouls it back. He's hitting .222, 5 home runs, 19 runs batted in. John usually swings and doesn't hang around. He's one of the fellas who does not spend a lot of time up there at home plate. Now the 1-2 pitch, he fights it off, and the count remains 1-2. Not only is he right up there high and swinging at the first pitch, he is also second lowest in taking a called strike. So he's a very aggressive hitter. John Buck. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Garland looks down the barrel, getting a sign from Barajas, and taking a little time, though John Buck backs out. 1-2. Garland turns on the rubber, right-hander over the top, and he's a little high and outside, and the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. John, right-hand hitter, bends slightly at the knees, and the fastball down and away. So for Garland, he's having a lot of trouble with the strike zone. He was also saved on that fine running catch by Andre Ethier. So for the umpteenth time, he has a 3-ball count. Now he's ready, and the 3-2 pitch is a fastball, a check swing, a little ground ball to Carroll, and that'll be doing it for Buck. But John tried to hold up and taps out. 2 down, and the batter will be Omar Infante. Infante, the second baseman, hitting .250. He has 1 home run, 16 runs batted in. He's another fellow who normally doesn't hang around much at the plate. And he has a look, and it's ball 1. Infante is from Venezuela. Last 5 games, he'd really been on a tear. He had .421. Now the 1-0 pitch on the way, and Infante takes a strike. One other thing, he is one of the best hitters in the league against John Garland. Infante in his career is hitting .405 against John Garland. The next pitch low. So for Garland, he's getting away with it, but he's making a lot of pitches, 39 pitches already, and he's behind 2 balls and 1 strike. Infante from Venezuela, originally drafted by the Tigers. And the 2-1 pitch on the way, swung on, little ground ball to short for call to his left, picks it, throws, and just did get him. Whoa! Infante went flying down the line, and Rafael just did nip him. So down they go, and for the Dodgers, Kemp, Gibbons, and Loney coming up. No score as we go to the bottom of the second. The Dodgers and the Marlins. It'll be Matt Kemp, Jay Gibbons, and James Loney in that order against Javier Vazquez, who is the answer to a trivia question. There was a game in 1999, the New York Yankees playing the Montreal Expos. David Cone was the pitcher for the Yankees, and he pitched a perfect game. So the question is, who was the losing pitcher for Montreal? It was Javier Vazquez. The right-hander ready and delivers, and it's low. 1 ball and no strikes to Matt Kemp, hitting .317, 12 home runs, 34 runs batted in. What breeze we have is blowing out a little bit, and the 1-0 pitch to Matt. He has a look, and that's a strike. 1-1. Matt Kemp against right-handers hitting .303, and against left-handers .364. Now the 1-1 pitch, Vazquez ready and comes back to Matt. Check swing, but it's going to cost him a strike, and the count 1-2. Matt Kemp versus Javier Vazquez. He is 0 for 3. Now the 1-2 pitch coming up. Vazquez ready, comes right back with a fastball just low and outside. 2-2 the count. Javier Vazquez, as a kid in Puerto Rico, played the infield, so he idolized Robbie Alomar. But then when he became a young pitcher, he began to watch every movement on TV made by Greg Maddux. 2-2 pitch is high, ball 3, 3-2. For Javier Vazquez, his father was raised in the military. His grandfather was in the military in World War II, served in Germany. And his dad grew up under military leadership, so that he was strict with Javier. Kemp fouls it back over the backstop screen, and the count 3-2. He was a fine young pitcher when he first started out. He was the Expos minor league pitcher of the year. That would be back in 1997. He has a habit. Remember when Wade Boggs, if you remember Wade Boggs, great hitter with the Sox, and he used to always have chicken before almost every game in which he played. Kemp, meanwhile, unloads to deep center field. Coghlan to the wall and backhands it as he runs into the wall. Oh, what a play by Chris Coghlan. He hardly turned around and caught the ball just as he went face first into the wall. So Matt Kemp drives it to center. Coghlan took a couple of looks and backhanded it, left arm fully extended, just a moment before he went into the wall face first. Great play. And for Matt Kemp, all he knows is he's 0 for 1. So one away in the second inning. Tremendous play by Chris Coghlan, who used to be an infielder once upon a time. The pitch to Jay Gibbons, a strike. They not only moved Coghlan from the infield, it was a big deal to move him to left field, but now he's in center. Strike one pitch, off speed and away. 1 ball and 1 strike. Jay hitting .200 with a home run and 4 runs batted in. Mattingly was saying that Gibbons has been swinging the bat a lot better. Takes a pitch very high and away. 2-1. On the recent road trip, Jay Gibbons reached base safely in all 6. He had a 5-game hitting streak too. So the 2-1 pitch to Jay Gibbons. Vasquez turns, ready, and here he comes. It's swung on and missed, and the count 2-2. Since the Dodgers played in an American League park at the beginning of the trip, that meant that Gibbons had 5 starts in left, 4 in right, and he had 1 game where he was the designated hitter. 2-2 pitch on the way, and the left-hand hitter pops it up in foul ground. It'll be John Buck, the catcher, putting it away, and just like that, 2 out in the second inning. And James Loney coming up. Say a reminder, you know, Don Mattingly bobblehead night. That'll be Wednesday at 7:10. The Dodgers and the Rockies. Compliments of Carl's Jr. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions or call 866-DODGERS. The Mattingly bobblehead Wednesday evening. Meanwhile, James Loney checking in with 2 out, bases empty in the second inning. No score. James hitting .238. He has a home run and 14 runs batted in and takes ball 1. Couple of reports on what's going on in the division. Well, first of all, the Giants are in the 8th inning and they're leading Milwaukee 5-3. Interesting. The Giants brought up Brandon Crawford, a shortstop, just before that game. Meanwhile, Loney uncorks a drive to right. If it's fair, it's going to go. It is fair and gone. And the Dodgers take a 1-0 lead. For Javier Vasquez, that would be the 6th home run that he has allowed. So Loney gets the Dodgers on the board. And they're up there 1-0 with Rod Barajas making his way to the plate. So for James Loney to hit 1 out, a little bit of news, as you know, I'm sure. Only his 2nd home run of the year. Then again, this is only the 52nd game, and he hit it just beyond the seats into the back of the visiting bullpen. So now Rod Barajas up there with the Dodgers leading 1-0, and he takes a high strike above the belt. 0-1. We were talking about the Giants and the rookie shortstop Brandon Crawford they brought up from Single A, and all he did was hit a grand slam home run against Sean Markham. Here's the strike 1 pitch on the way. Little flare down the right field line. It's going to land for a base hit. Up with it there in right field is Stanton. And holding on at first is Barajas with a looping single to right field. So after Kemp crushes the ball for an out, after the second out, Loney hits a home run, and Barajas a flare single. So that was a huge play by Chris Coughlin. And with 2 down, Jamie Carroll coming up. Brandon Crawford of the Giants, who was recalled from single A and hit the grand slam, went to school at UCLA. And that Giant Milwaukee game is in the 8th inning. Giants 5, Milwaukee 3. Now with 2 out, Jamie Carroll takes a look at a pitch in there for a strike, and the count 0-1. St. Louis is leading Colorado 6-3 in the 7th inning. Ubaldo Jimenez really struggling, allowed all 6 Cardinal runs and 12 hits. Albert Pujols has a couple of RBI singles in that one. Here's the strike 1 pitch. Jamie Carroll hits it foul off to the right out of play. There in the 8th inning, Arizona leading Houston 7-6. Arizona was trailing 6-0 and have battled their way back. Juan Miranda has accounted for the last 4 runs for Arizona. He has 2 two-run home runs. So that's what's going on in the division. 0-2 the count to Jamie Carroll. Big breaking ball away. 1-2 the count to Jamie, hitting .304. So Javier Vasquez struggling a little bit, gives up the home run, and he's down 1-0. 1-2 the count. Barajas at first. Gabby Sanchez holding him on. Ground ball to Sanchez. He'll take it to the bag, and that's that. The Dodgers get 2 hits, one of them a home run by James Loney, his 2nd home run of the year. And at the end of 2, the Dodgers leading 1-0. That dropped off to 10 last year, and he hits his 2nd home run of this season to give the Dodgers a 1-0 lead, and we go to the 3rd inning. By the way, Loney had just one previous at-bat against Vasquez and struck out. So into the 3rd we go, and Vasquez, Coughlin, and Ramirez in that order. Vasquez, right-hand batter, takes high, 1 ball and no strikes. Vasquez has 3 hits, and they're all doubles. He takes a pitch in for a strike, though that balances things. 1 ball and 1 strike. It was 6 years ago when the Diamondbacks sent Randy Johnson to the Yankees to get Vasquez. The 1-1 pitch inside ball 2, and amongst those in that deal, Deanna Navarro. Vasquez, along with his manager Eddie Rodriguez, are both from Ponce in Puerto Rico. He hits a ground ball to Jamie Carroll, who makes the play, and we have one away. The Marlins are without their ace, and he is an ace, and that would be Josh Johnson, who among other things has an earned run average of 1.6. What Eddie Rodriguez has decided, tomorrow's pitcher against Kuroda will depend upon the use of the bullpen tonight. And if they can get away with burning up the whole pen, it might be a reliever, Brian Sanchez, who starts tomorrow against Kuroda. Meanwhile, Chris Coghlan made that great catch on the ball hit by Matt Kemp is at the plate. 0-1 to Chris. Strike one pitch. He swings a little late. Jan fouls it off. 0-2. So the Marlins, who are 15-7 on the road, have won 5 straight road games. They just swept the Giants. And the strike 2 pitch on the way, and that's high, ball 1. If you play close to the vest with the Marlins, you're in trouble. They are 14-4 in one-run games, and they play very well here at Dodger Stadium. Next pitch fouled away. Since 2007, Florida has won 9 of the 13 here. Eddie has his club on the move, and he's going to get Josh Johnson back. He would be eligible the 1st of June, and he's coming back on the 7th. Coghlan, meanwhile, swings and misses, and down he goes. Second strikeout for John Garland. High fastball that seemed to tail away just a little bit. And the batter now, Hanley Ramirez. Ramirez, who has been a fine ball player, but for whatever reason, really struggling this year, hitting .211. I mean, you look at his numbers with the Marlins: .292, .332, .301, .342, .300, and then all of a sudden hitting .211, and he pops it up on the right side. Jamie Carroll makes the catch. So that's a very easy inning for John Garland. And down go the Marlins. And at the end of 2.5 innings, Dodgers 1, Florida 0. The home run by James Loney, and here in the bottom of the 3rd inning, they'll have John Garland, Rafael Furcal, and Casey Blake against Javier Vasquez. Right-hander's fastball sinks low, ball 1. That's the 2-seam fastball. He also has a curve and a changeup. He has a slider. He added a cutter And a couple of years ago, he had a knuckle curve, and he misses low again. Ball 2, 2-0. Basically, if you wanted to sum up Javier Vazquez, he is a fly ball pitcher. And of course, that home run by Loney fulfilled that definition. Ground ball up the middle, backhanded by second baseman Infante to take care of Garland. And we have one away here in the third, with the Dodgers leading 1-0. A reminder, you know, Monday you can enjoy the long-standing tradition of hot dogs at Dodger Stadium for $1 Dodger Dog Day, presented by Farmer John. For more information, go to Dodgers.com/promotions or call 866-DODGER. By the way, in talking about this holiday, Monday's game with Colorado, remember, is a 5:10 game. So tonight 7:10, tomorrow night 7:10, Sunday 1:10, but then Monday 5:10 with Colorado. Here's Rafael Furcal, swings and lifts one to straightaway center. Coughlin is there waiting, and Chris one-hands it for the out. Though we have 2 down here in the third inning, and the batter will be Casey Blake.
For the Dodgers, number 23, Casey Blake.
So there have been 3 fly balls, one of which was the circus catch by Chris Coughlin and a home run given up by Vazquez. Casey Blake fly to center in the first inning. The Dodgers have been struggling offensively. If you've been following them at all, it is certainly no news. They're the only major league team averaging less than 3 runs a game in the month of May, and the fewest for a Dodger team since April of 1985. And yet the 85 team was a very good team, only to bow to the home run, remember, of Jack Clark and the Cardinals. The 1-0 pitch in for a strike, and the count 1-1. Dodgers are 3 games under 500 at home, 4 games under 500 on the road, and they're 5-5 against the East. The 1-1 fastball in there. 1-2 to Casey Blake. Casey was doing very well against right-hand pitching until he got banged up. He's hitting overall .315. He was hitting .341 against right-handers. Slaps one in the air to right field, but Mike Stanton moves to his left and makes the catch. So down go the Dodgers, 1, 2, 3, and at the end of 3, lead 1-0. Bourbon Barbecue Steak Grill Sandwich at participating restaurants. And by your Southern California Ford dealers. Visit us today and trade up to Ford. Beautiful evening here in Los Angeles. Dodgers leading Florida 1-0. And we go to the 4th inning with Morrison, Sanchez, and Dobbs. Ball 1 to Logan, who walked in the first inning. One of the big improvements for Morrison is his batting average against right-hand pitchers. He's hitting a .297 and promptly whacks it into right field. So Morrison, the leadoff single, and Gabby Sanchez coming up. Hit number 1 allowed by Garland was only problem with the 2 walks in the first inning. So Morrison at first, and here's Gabby Sanchez. And fouled out of play. 0-1 the count. Gabby very much of a first pitch swinger, and why not? During the year, on the first pitch, he came into this game hitting .462. Oh and 1, Gabby from Miami. 1 ball and 1 strike. Gabby Sanchez, born in Miami, lives in Miami, went to school at the University of Miami. His family owned batting cages in Tamiami Park, adjacent to the turnpike. So he'd spent countless hours in batting practice. That's going to go foul. 1-2. As Gabby said, in those younger days, the facility would be dark except for one light. The only thing you would hear would be the whizzing cars and the sounds of baseballs hitting the aluminum bat. And his dad, Rumberto, really helped him. He said he was there every single day. If he wasn't in the batting cage, he was sleeping. Ground ball to Carroll, the feed to Furcal, and double him up at first base. So Sanchez, a big RBI man, came up with 2 on in the first inning and hit a little fly ball. Now he comes up and grounds into a double play. So 2 down, and Greg Dobbs coming up. Dobbs has been around a while. He is another fella who attacks the first pitch. He's hitting .500 on the first pitch. And there he goes again. So that double play ball really slowed down the Florida attack as Dobbs singles to center, and the batter will be Mike Stanton. Mike Stanton was called up and joined the team in Philadelphia. That would be last year, and he played in 100 games. He joined the team in Philadelphia, and they had 6 road games, and then they were going to return to South Florida. 0-1. So he called his teammate, the veteran Wes Helms, in the morning and asked him what he needed to wear to home games. Well, they led him by the hand, and now here he is, a grizzled veteran. 0-1. He went to Notre Dame Academy in Sherman Oaks. Little nubber back to Garland. Easy play to first, and that'll be that. So the Marlins waste 2 hits. No runs, 2 hits, a man left. And at the end of 3.5, Dodgers lead 1-0. the fourth inning.
Ethier.
Javier Vasquez and John Garland, game one of the 3-game series. Andre Ethier has already made a big contribution, making a fine play on a ball hit by Mike Stanton in the second inning. Ethier with the bat, however, 0 for 1, struck out. Interesting how John Garland has improved on his control, which then cuts down on the number of pitches. He went from 24 to 16 to 10, in the last inning only 9. Ball 1. Javier Vasquez has gone 13, then 20, and then last inning only 8 pitches. So it's 1-0 Dodgers on Loney's home run, and we're in the fourth. Off speed, pulled foul. 1 ball and 1 strike. Andre banged up running into that wire fence in Chicago. Made a few brief appearances in Houston and now ready to play again every day. 1-1. Ball 2. Against Javier Vasquez, Ethier 1 for 4 prior to tonight. Two and 1. And ball 3. In looking at Vasquez's work, 46 innings, 54 hits. So that's a sure sign you're struggling. He has now allowed 6 home runs, and his earned run average is over 6. 3-2 the count to Andre Ethier. Waiting on deck, Matt Kemp. Beautiful evening, 68 degrees when the game started. No breeze, just a lovely summer's evening. 3-2. And he walks him. So Ethier draws the first walk given up by Vasquez. And the batter is Matt Kemp. Since he's already given up more hits than innings pitched, he has also walked 27 and struck out 29. So then you look up Vasquez to really find out how much of a struggle it's been, and his run average is 6.4. So it's been a struggle for him. Here's Matt Kemp, robbed of a hit on a great play by Coughlin, and there's ball 1. For Vasquez, this would be his 10th start. He blanked Tampa Bay last time out, won 7 innings, allowed just 3 hits. 1-0. 1-1. Vasquez's best year, you'd really have to go back to about 10 years ago when he was a 16-game winner. Twice he has won 15, once with the Braves, once with the White Sox. 1-1. And a towering fly ball to deep left center, but playable. Coughlin is there. And Ethier holds at first. So Kemp just misses twice. 1 away.
Left fielder number 31, Jay Gibbons.
Jay Gibbons, who fouled out to John Buck, the catcher, coming up. One thing that Vasquez has done throughout his career is give his team innings. Over 10 years, he's had at least 2 innings, and over the last 11, missed once. At least 200 innings. Off speed, ball one. Dodgers lead on James Loney's second inning home run, 1-0. And with all those innings, he's also picked up a lot of wins. Javier Vasquez, the pride of Ponce in Puerto Rico. He'll be 35 the end of June. 1-0. That seemed to slip. 2-0. Might have been a change that got away. It was only 69 miles an hour. 2-0 the count. Jay batting 195. And that's lifted to right field down the line. Coming a long way is Stanton, but going out to beat him to it is Infante. So the second baseman makes a big play, and you really had to concentrate when you know Stanton is coming at you. Meanwhile, it was the second inning when James Loney came up and connected with a knee-high fastball and hit it into the bullpen. But then, as if he were a rookie, they're going to give him the cold shoulder for a moment, and then everybody gives him a hug. So Loney hits his second home run, and the Dodgers leading 1-0. So here he is batting .242. And ball one. Marlins had 2 on with 1 out in the first inning, and Sanchez and Dobbs couldn't do anything. They had 2 base hits in the 4th inning, but Sanchez hit into a double play. And the Dodgers have not had any kind of a rally except for Loney's home run. 1 ball and no strikes. And that misses. Ball 2, 2-0. So Hiroki Kuroda tomorrow night, and then Sunday, that should be quite a battle. Clayton Kershaw 5-3 against Ricky Nolasco, who is 4-0. Two balls, no strikes. In there. 2-1. Loney a quick look at Tim Wallach with 2 out. Ethier also taking a look at first. Waiting on deck, Rod Barajas. Ethier holds, and it's sliced foul, out of play. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Marlins here again tomorrow night, Sunday afternoon, and then Jim Tracy will lead the Colorado Rockies in. That'll be Monday at 5:10, Tuesday at 7:10, and Wednesday night 7:10. Colorado began the night having lost 3 in a row and trailing the Giants by 3. 2-2. Ground ball up the middle. Tricky hop. Staying with it is Infante, and that'll be that. So no runs, no hits, a man left, and at the end of 4, Dodgers 1, Marlins nothing. Southwest Airlines new Rapid Reward. Unlimited reward seats and no blackout dates. And by your local Mazda dealer. We're moving to the fifth inning with the Dodgers leading 1-0 on the home run by James Loney. John Garland versus Javier Vazquez. It will be the bottom three of the Marlin lineup with Buck the catcher, Infante the second baseman, and Vazquez the pitcher. One thing about Garland, he has certainly improved on his control. In the first inning, he made 24 pitches and 14 of them were out of the strike zone. He walked 2. Ground ball to Furcal. Low throw, and it bounces into the dugout. Though on that poor throw, the tying run is at second base with nobody out. So Rafael will draw the error, and the batter will be Infante.
Second baseman.
As soon as it left his hand, you knew it was going to be low. A one hopper, and Loney unable to backhand it. Looked like the kind of a play I would guess Loney would make that play at least 8 times out of 10 because the ball didn't eat him up. It was out in front where he had a pretty good line on it, and he just tried to backhand it and pretty much missed it. So now Omar Infante trying to pick up the tying run. And a strike. Infante has certainly had tragedy in his life. He had an older brother. He's from Venezuela, and he had an older brother who was robbed, shot, and killed for $5. Well, that one's on the money. So Infante grounds to short. The Marlins spinning their wheels, and the batter will be Javier Vazquez. You know, the Dodgers' ultimate giveaway plan still available. 8 games, 10 giveaways, 5 remaining bobbleheads, 2 fleece blankets, Dodger sports bag, beach towel, and purple and gold LA cap, starting at $12 a seat per game. For more information, go to Dodgers.com/mini-plans or call 323-224-1365. So Buck is at second, the wasted at bat by Infante. And here's Vazquez, who's a pretty good hitter. Strike. Vazquez hitting .214, came into the game hitting .231. He has a run batted in. He's had about 17 plate appearances, and he has only struck out twice. And a hard ground ball. Great stop by Casey Blake to throw him out. Welcome back, Casey. Oh, what a play. Casey prevented a run. He took away a double. And the Dodgers still lead 1-0. Tremendous play by Casey Blake. And the oohs and the ahs from the crowd. And the batter now will be Chris Coghlan. So it's been maddening for the Marlins. They get people on, they get people in scoring position, and they can't come up with a hit. Coghlan has grounded out and struck out, hitting .240. Oh and 1. Well, the Giants finished off Milwaukee 5-4. Brian Wilson saved it for Lincecum. And Brandon Crawford from UCLA hit the go-ahead grand slam, becoming only the 7th player ever to hit a grand slam in his major league debut. Brandon Crawford. Meanwhile, Garland on target now, throwing strikes, and he's 0-2 to Coghlan. Fouled away. That was a big out to get Infante. without advancing the runner. Remember, we told you Infante coming into the game was hitting .405 against Garland. Went first ball swinging and grounded to short, leaving the tying run at second base, and then Vasquez robbed of an extra base hit by Casey Blake. So 0-2 to Chris Coghlan. 1-2. Well, the Cardinals are chewing up Colorado. It's 9-3 in the ninth inning. Colby Rasmus 4 for 4 with 3 RBIs, and Ubaldo Jimenez, something must be wrong with him. He gave up 6 earned runs in 6 innings, and the Rockies now would fall 2 games under .500, and their woes continue. They will have lost 4 in a row. 2-2 the count. 1-0 Dodgers on the home run by James Loney. Marlins had back-to-back walks with 1 out in the first inning. Stanton lost an extra base hit on a great running catch by Andre Ethier. They had Morrison lead off with a single, only to have Gabby Sanchez ground into a double play, and then have Greg Dobbs come up with another hit. And here in the 5th inning, John Buck reaches on the throwing error by Furcal. Infante hits the first pitch to shortstop, and then Casey Blake makes that diving stop of the ball hit by Vasquez. 2-2 to Coghlan. Chris has already let the people know he's around, having made that great catch on the ball hit by Matt Kemp. The Rookie of the Year 2 years ago, trying to get John Buck home and tie up the game. He has 4 home runs, 20 runs batted in. And that's going to be hit right at Ethier. So again, a big break, the throwing error by Furcal, but Blake saved him and the club, and it's still 1-0 Dodgers. During the season on Prime Ticket, we proudly support Stand Up to Cancer and their work to fund groundbreaking research that helps accelerate treatment to patients. For more information, please visit standuptocancer.org/Fox Sports. Bottom of the 5th inning, 1-0 in favor of the Dodgers. Dodgers have been involved in 14 games decided by 1 run, and they are 7-7. Meanwhile, the Marlins have been in 18 games decided by one, and they're 14-4. 1-0. And Barajas pops it up, foul ground. Gabby Sanchez, just like that, one away. Time to get you thinking a little bit. We were talking earlier about Javier Vazquez and the fact that he has won 10 so many years, about 11. Who holds for the Dodgers the record for most consecutive 10-win seasons? Which pitcher? We'll give you the answer in a little while. There's Vazquez, 11. Mark Burley, CC Sabathia, 10. John Garland, Derek Lowe, 9. John out on deck, and Jamie Carroll the batter, and we can tell you Arizona beat Houston 7-6 the hard way. We say the hard way because Houston led 6-0, and the D-backs clawed back to win it 7-6. So Arizona 2 games over 500, and Kirk Gibson's got to feel a lot better about things. That's going to go foul, 0-1. Arizona started a game and a half behind the Giants. Giants won. Arizona has now won 4 straight, and more importantly, Arizona, by winning tonight, has won 10 of its last 11. 0-2. One and two. No one likes to see anyone else injured in the game, but each team knows injury is certainly a part of the long season. The Dodgers this year could write a book about it. But the injuries now, when you think about it, will have revitalized the National League West, and that's going to be hit to the gap on the dead run to pick it off is Mike Stanton. 2 down. So the world champion Giants lose a great player. What a heartbreak. What a shame to lose Buster Posey. That's going to affect the Giants considerably. And Colorado is hurting. Jimenez is not pitching well, and they've lost the services of Jorge De La Rosa with a sore shoulder. So all of a sudden the Dodgers said, well, wait a minute, we just got Furcal back, we got Blake back, maybe we'll get some of the other hardly ables back, and we can get back into the race. We'll see. Garland way out in front, 0-1. Javier Vazquez, 2 out, 5th inning. Dodgers lead 1-0 on Loney's home run. That's in there. 0-2. When the Marlins come up in the 6th inning, they'll have Hanley Ramirez, Logan Morrison, and Gabby Sanchez. Tough trio of hitters. One and two. In there. So that will do it. Down go the Dodgers. And at the end of 5, Dodgers 1, Florida 0. merry month of May, but it wasn't so merry on this date in 1957, certainly not for the people of New York, because on this day, back then in 57, all of the National League owners agreed to grant permission to both the Brooklyn Dodgers and the New York Giants to move to the West Coast. And the Giants became San Francisco, and the Dodgers became Los Angeles. Maybe only a blip on the calendar of baseball history. May the 27th, 1957, the word was go. Let's go back to this one. John Garland, who was noticeably wild in the first inning when he made 24 pitches, 14 balls, and walked 2 and got away with it, is now in the 6th inning leading 1-0. Hanley Ramirez has walked and popped up. Every year there's a question when certain people don't do what you expect them to do. Why isn't Carl Crawford hitting? Why isn't Vernon Wells doing this? Why isn't one of the Dodgers doing whatever? And the big question in Miami is, what about Hanley? 2-1. In July, a couple of years ago, Hanley Ramirez had 5 hits and hit a home run in the 11th inning and beat the Dodgers 5-4. That's the kind of thing he was accustomed to doing. But he's struggling, hitting only .210. As a rookie, he had 7 leadoff home runs. That was in '06. He had 6 leadoff home runs in '08. And he gets his second walk. Now Ramirez is also a good base stealer, remember. He's stolen 10 out of 15. You ready for the answer to the trivia question about winning 10 games or more? Which pitcher holds the Dodger record for most consecutive 10 victory seasons? Don Sutton, and he did it 15 straight years, 66 through 80. The major league record, however, is 20 consecutive seasons, and that would be Greg Maddux. He broke the record of 19 set by Cy Young. And of course, Maddux, you may know, won 4 Cy Young awards. 0-1 to Logan Morrison, who was walked, single to right, and Ramirez held on by Loney. Morrison 6 home runs, 17 runs batted in, 1-1. Ramirez watching Garland very carefully. And that's going to be banged the other way for a base hit. So now the Marlins put on a big challenge. First and second, nobody out. And Sanchez and Dobbs and Stanton coming up. That's only the 3rd hit allowed by John Garland. Gabby Sanchez, who's been a big butter and egg man, flied to center with 2 on in the 1st inning and grounded into a double play in the 4th. Look out on the first pitch with Gabby. I think we mentioned when he swings at the first pitch this year, he was hitting .462. And ball 1. Gabby's had 21 RBIs in the month of May. And popped it up, foul ground, might have a play, questionable, no play. And for Rod Barajas, tough run going into that railing. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. Rod fully extended, crashing into that. Eyes concentrating on the ball. That had to hurt. Remember, he's playing with a tender wrist that was hurt against the White Sox. 1-1 the count to Gabby Sanchez. 2 on, nobody out. 1-0 Dodgers. Interesting, we were talking earlier about Gabby Sanchez. Born in Miami, lives in Miami, went to the University of Miami. He hit his first major league home run in Miami on University of Miami family night. Everything he does well for Miami. 1-1. Hanley might have been thinking about trying to steal third. So he's giving Garland some pause. One and two. We mentioned before in talking about Sanchez, as you saw a foul one off to the right, he's been far more successful pulling the ball this year than last year. This is his third at bat, and when he has 3 at bats against a starting pitcher, he's hitting .441. So we'll see here. And a comebacker. He's going to get 1. Nice play by Carroll. They get 2. Well, there might be a moon over Miami, but there's an 0 for 3 over the head of Gabby Sanchez, and he has had 5 men on, and he's 0 for 3. So he has really clogged the Florida offense, and he's their most reliable, and that'll bring up Greg Dobbs. 2 on, he flied to center. 1 out into a double play, and 2 on, he hits into a double play. So the tying run is 90 feet away, and as we always do, we check. Garland does not have a wild pitch, but there's still pressure on Barajas. And here's Dobbs, who struck out and singled. Ball 1. Ramirez coming down the line. Chances of seeing somebody steal home is rare, and especially with a left-hand hitter up there. Hanley said something to Jim Wolf, the third base umpire, and got a laugh. And that's going to go into left field for the base hit. So it is Greg Dobbs who singles to left, and the Marlins tie it up. So in the inning, 2 singles and a walk, and the double play slowed him down. But now they're even, and Mike Stanton is coming up. Earlier we were talking about Mike Stanton, local boy, and we mentioned that he went to Notre Dame. Only we said from the notes we had he went to Notre Dame Academy. No academy. That's the girls part. He went to Notre Dame. Ball 1. Mike is 6'5" and 250. He was a 3-sport star at Notre Dame. But what's interesting, in his sophomore year of high school, he was 5'11", and junior year he was 6'4". So he really had a growth spurt. He has 11 home runs, 28 runs batted in. 2-0. He committed to the University of Southern California, and he was recruited by SC as a wide receiver defensive back, as well as a solid baseball player. And ball 3. Well, with his power and his overall ability, and the fact that Florida has not put up much of an offense, they could green light him 3-0, that's for sure. 3-0. And off the plate for ball 4. So for Garland, getting Sanchez to hit into the double play was golden, because he has walked 2, given up 2 singles, but only 1 run. We have a 1-1 tie, and John Buck coming up. Buck's been playing quite a while. Meanwhile, let's see what happens at the mound with John Garland. His pitch count is up to 89. Kenley Jansen down in the pen. Big Kenley getting ready. And the manager wants to find out if there's any gas left in the tank. So he's talking to Trey Hillman. And out there to get the answer, Rick Honeycutt. The hitter John Buck has been in the big leagues since 2004, mostly with the Royals. Last year he was with the Blue Jays, and then he came over to the Marlins. So he's had a lot of work. Basically, I guess you'd call him about a 250 hitter. He's batting 219 right now. In Florida, you know how players have their own songs. Well, in Florida, the PA system of the ballpark, his song is Chutes and Ladders by Korn. You're well aware of that, I'm sure. And the family has a Scottish background, and apparently that song begins with bagpipes. So he has 2 on, 2 out, 1-1 tie, and pops it up. And it'll be for call. So Buck pops up, and despite 2 walks and 2 singles, Garland gives up 1, and at the end of 5.5, a 1-1 tie. The freeze cam on Chris Coughlin in center on a ball hit by Matt Kemp. A great play by the center fielder. Look at that. And then he's going to go face first into the pads. Unfortunately, there's a little give out there. By the way, in talking about there's a little give out there, the tragedy that occurred to the San Francisco Giants, Scott Cousins, who is a member of the Florida club, sitting in the dugout. Scott Cousins had that big collision with Buster Posey. That's Scott. What made it so ironical, of all people to hurt Posey, Scott Cousins went to the University of San Francisco and lives in San Francisco. For call trying to slap a bunt. And of course he was heartbroken, called over a couple of times, cried, over the injury to Posey. And you know what? The Giants almost had another terrible injury tonight in the game with Milwaukee. 1-1 to Raphael. The backup catcher, who's now the first string catcher, Eli Whiteside, he was catching, and there was a horrific collision again tonight. And you know who the base runner was for Milwaukee? You're right. Prince Fielder, of all people. And he crashed into Whiteside, and fortunately both men were all right and continued to play. 1-2 the count to Raphael Furcal. He is struck out, fly to center, committed an error. High chopper, and he'll get the out. One down in the sixth. Final score, the Cardinals pounded Colorado 10-3. Pujols and Rasmus combined to drive in 5, and they beat Jimenez at Coors Field. So the Rockies are really struggling. They've lost 4 in a row, 8 of the last 11, and they will be here with a 500 road record when this 3-game series is over. Bouncer backhanded by Dobbs. High throw, but in time. 2 quick outs here in the sixth in a 1-1 tie. And the batter, Andre Ethier. Andre Ethier struck out in the first inning, walked in the fourth. In his young career, he has done very well offensively in the past. He came in with a .364 career batting average against the Marlins. 2 out, 1-1, bottom of the sixth. Oh, and 1. Be the bottom of the order for the Marlins in the seventh. Infante, Vasquez, and Coggan. Off speed and a high drive to right. Going back to the gate at the bullpen gate. Can't make it. Home run, Andre Ethier on a pitch that came up there at 70 miles an hour. And the Dodgers regain a lead 2-1. For Vasquez, he is now allowed 8 home runs. I think every manager, every pitching coach in the National League has one thought: don't let Ethier or Kemp beat you. Loney might hit one out once in a while, but be careful with Ethier and Kemp. And up jumped the devil. And now here's Kemp. And he hits a fly ball to right field. It's playable. However, Ethier hits it out. And the Dodgers trying to do it on a long ball by Loney in the second. Andres here in the sixth, and they lead 2-1. bit of an edge in every area except the earned runs, where 2 home runs have put him down 2-1. Omar Infante, a strike. Infante twice has grounded to short. Normally, he gives Garland a bad time. Fouled away. Infante had 8 home runs last year. He has 1 so far this year. Infante was an all-star last year. 0-2. Still 0-2. He's from a town in Venezuela, Guanta. It's a seaside town about 100 miles east of Caracas. Seaports, cement factories, oil refineries. And a soft line drive to Casey Blake. So Infante goes 0 for 3, 1 away.
Pitcher number 23, Javier Vasquez.
Javier Vasquez was on deck hoping Infante would get aboard. And now when Infante fails, so does Vasquez. And Scott Cousins, the boy who collided with Buster Posey, will be coming up. With Vasquez allowing 2 home runs tonight, he remains second behind Tim Wakefield. Wakefield has allowed 398. Vasquez now 359. The all-time leader, Jamie Moyer. Jamie gave up 511 home runs, and it's the home run haunting Vasquez right now. So here's the boy from San Francisco, Scott Cousins. Scott, 26 years old. Ground ball into right field, base hit. For Cousins, a two-way star at the University of San Francisco. He played the outfield. He also pitched. And he comes off the bench for a base hit. So now Chris Coughlin coming up. And now let's see. Down in the pen you have Elbert, the left-hander. Jansen, the right-hander. And you have the left-hand hitting Chris Coughlin coming up. So here comes Scott Elbert, and we'll be back. He came into the game 5-1 lifetime against Florida, an earned run average of 2.3, and he held the Marlins to a 206 batting average. So tonight He's allowed 1 run and 5 hits, walked 2, struck out a couple. Got a couple of big defensive plays to help. And now Scott Elbert is brought in to face the left-hand hitter Coughlin, who is hitting only .135 against left-hand pitching. And ball 1. Coughlin overall hitting .238. Last year, he had 1 home run against left-handers, 4 against right-handers. Tying run at first, 1 ball and 1 strike count. So Elbert charged with a big responsibility here. Hanley Ramirez on deck, and Kenley Jansen warmed up in the pen. 1 out. Ground ball to short. Furcal to the bag for 1. Doubles in at first. That is the 3rd double play the Marlins have hit into, as Elbert does a number, and Garland is going to be there to shake Elbert's hand because he's in line for a win. It's 2-1 Dodgers. Pollo Loco. Try our delicious Baja-style fish tacos with classic Baja or spicy avocado sauce. Only at El Pollo Loco. By Corona. And by Time Warner Cable. Bottom of the 7th inning with the Dodgers holding on to a 2-1 lead. The Marlins bring in the left-hander Randy Choate, a veteran indeed, who was originally signed by the Yankees in 1997. Meanwhile, Juan Castro is now going to come off the bench to get a right-hand hitter up there instead of Jay Gibbons. So Randy Choate, who is 36 in September, out of San Antonio, signed out of Florida State University as a 5th-round pick, came up to the Yankees, but he was one of those many Yankees who made a constant trip from New York to Columbus and then back again. Eventually he went to the Diamondbacks, then started making the trips from Phoenix to Tucson. So Castro trying to get something started against him. 0-2 the count. Randy, among other things, was acquired in the deal that sent Vasquez to the Yankees, and he wound up going to the Expos. Just off the plate. Randy, a 2-year deal signed with the Marlins. That'll get him through next year. Basically, fastball, curve, big slider, and a changeup. One and two. Kind of snakes that thing in there, and down goes Castro. A reminder, take the Dodgers with you wherever you go this season. Subscribe to MLB.TV today. See every Dodger game live or on demand on your computer and your favorite devices. Visit Dodgers.com to order and get more details. MLB.TV, baseball everywhere. So here is Loney, who homered and grounded out. And ball one. Though I assume with Castro coming off the bench to bat for Gibbons, Juan will probably stay in and finish up the game for Furcal. Little dribbler. Choate is there to make the tag. So quickly 2 out in the 7th inning. The batter will be Rod Barajas. Down in the Dodger bullpen, getting ready for the 8th inning, is Ruby De La Rosa, who was pitching in Chattanooga, remember, and they just called him up. Meanwhile, after fielding that ball, Choate now has a meeting at the mound, and that will be that. He got the 2 left-handers, at least the spot. Gibbons gave way to Castro, and then Loney hits back to the box. And with 2 out, he leaves, and we'll be back. And on their shoulders rests a 2-1 lead. as the Dodgers have gotten this game into the bottom of the 7th inning. First, it was James Loney hitting one into the visiting bullpen in the 2nd inning to give the Dodgers a 1-0 lead. And then it was Ethier homering with 2 out in the 6th inning into the bullpen to give the Dodgers a 2-1 lead. And a little hysterics in the dugout with Aaron Miles and Jamie Carroll. So Rod Barajas will now face Ryan Webb. Barajas single to right, little pop fly, and fouled out. Fouled away. Ryan Webb is a chip off the old block. His father Hank pitched in the major leagues for the Mets and for the Dodgers back in 1977. And Ryan is a big fella. He is 6'6", 210, 25 years old, out of Florida. 0-1 the count to Barajas. And that's a pop fly, really. 2 men. Coughlin is the center fielder to make the catch, and that's that. So the Dodgers go quietly in the 7th. We're heading for the 8th. Dodgers 2, Florida 1. Assumed when Castro batted for Gibbons that maybe Juan would stay in the game, but the infield remains intact. The change is Tony Gwynn will go into left field. But instead of having the left-hand hitting Gwynn, they tried their luck with Castro, and now Gwynn and Ruby De La Rosa come in at the same time. So it's been Garland for 6 1/3, and then it was Elbert getting the double play ball. And now it's up to De La Rosa. Made his debut on the road in Houston, 1 hitless inning. De La Rosa charged with a big responsibility here in the 8th inning. Ruby is 6'1" and 170. He's only 22. He was signed in 2007. He went to a tryout camp and nobody really paid much attention to him. He was 16. He was about 5'7", very thin, and as he said, well, no one wanted me. I was too small. So while growing up in the Dominican, De La Rosa played a game called La Plaquita. It's a Dominican variation of cricket. So we'll see what he does now against Hanley Ramirez, Logan Morrison, and then Gabby Sanchez. Ramirez has walked, popped up, walked again, scored the only run, and a strike. Two runs, 3 hits for the Dodgers, 1 run, 5 hits for the Marlins. And 1 ball and 1 strike. De La Rosa signed with the Dodgers when he was 18. He only weighed 130 pounds, but he was throwing 91 even then. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ball 2. In 09, they had an earned run average over 6 in 5 games, and the Dodgers sent him back to the Dominican Republic for disciplinary reasons. And a year later, he was the Dodgers minor league pitcher of the year. Dodgers really paid attention to him in spring training when the opposition hit 161 against him. Fastball, slider, changeup. Fastball's been actually clocked at 102. And he has walked Ramirez. That's the 3rd time that Hanley has walked. And again, the Marlins have a runner aboard. So they've had 5 hits and 3 walks. They've had at least 1 man on base in every inning but the 2nd and 3rd. Those 6 of the 8 innings, they've had a base runner. Gabby Sanchez has grounded into 2 double plays. Chris Coghlan grounded in the 3rd, so that slowed down the Marlins. But here they come again. And here's Morrison, 2 for 2 with a walk. And ball 1. So Barajas going out to talk to Ruby De La Rosa. Logan Morrison, who has been swinging a good bat, hitting .333. He has a half a dozen home runs. He has 17 runs batted in. So he is a factor indeed, especially this late in the game. Hanley Ramirez, with his 10 stolen bases, also puts a little extra pressure on De La Rosa. 1 ball and no strikes. And ball 2. We mentioned it earlier. It's just strange about Logan Morrison, whose first name is really Justice, Justis. His dad was a chief petty officer in the Coast Guard who played football at Kansas. His father was even bigger than he is. He's 6'3", weighs 230. His father's 6'4" and weighed 260. He said his dad read every book on hitting, especially Charlie Lau's books. He said at 12, Logan said, my dad had me hitting 100 balls a day. He used to watch tapes of Steve Garvey a lot. Dad built a pitcher's mound in the backyard to pitch to him, and all that hard work and money is paid off. When Logan was first called up to the Marlins last year, the first thing they did, they said, go cut your hair. It's too long. Got his first major league hit in July of last year against Matt Cain of the Giants. There goes Ramirez. Pitch low, no throw. He had a good jump, and it looked like Barajas might not have had a good grip. So that's the 11th stolen base this year for Hanley Ramirez. And there's Barajas reading me no sense. I couldn't get him. So again, the Marlins are in chance. I think a little strawberry burn on that slide. You know, you're sitting home comfortably watching them slide, you forget. Some levels, they were sliding pads, but I haven't seen any in the big leagues. And line drive at Loney. Boy, the Dodgers have really been fortunate. Casey Blake took a double away from Javier Vazquez, and you can't hit the ball much harder than that line drive hit by Morrison. So a bullet at Loney, 1 away. Now the batter is Gabby Sanchez, who is certainly a hungry RBI guy. 2 on in the first inning. Little pop fly to center. Grounded into a double play in the 4th. Grounded into a double play in the 6th. Ramirez, the tying run at second. 1 out. And ball 1. Gabby Sanchez, prior to tonight, had been the most reliable Marlin with runners in scoring position. He was hitting .356 in the clutch, but 0 for 3 so far. So Ramirez at second, 1 out for a call in to talk to young Ruby. Sanchez hitting .310, 7 home runs, 31 runs batted in. Well, Hanley Ramirez doing his best to distract De La Rosa. Fastball whacked. However, hesitating was Ramirez, and they have to hold him. When the ball was hit, Hanley's first move was to lean back towards second, and that took away any chance of picking him up. So Sanchez gets a base hit, and Tony Gwynn charging it, and all Ramirez can do is go to third. So first and third, 1 out, and Greg Dobbs, a left-hand batter, coming up. Greg Dobbs struck out, single to center, single to left. So now a lot of pressure on young De La Rosa. Dobbs singled in the 6th inning, scored Ramirez from third to tie up the game. 2-1 Dodgers, 8th inning. And the Fish are threatened. And hit to the hole by the diving Carroll. The tying run comes in. Ethier's throw to third is not in time. So Dobbs comes up with his 3rd hit. A single to right field, cashing in Ramirez. That ties it up. On then, Gabby Sanchez beating Ethier's throw. This thing just by Jamie Carroll's diving attempt. Talk about diving attempt. That was the play by Gabby Sanchez. How close that came to hitting him or the glove of Carroll, and instead it found its way through. By the way, Greg Dobbs, standing over there at first base, is hitting .393 with runners in scoring position this year. .393. And now here's the local boy, Mike Stanton. 0-1. No balls and 1 strike to Mike, or as we mentioned earlier, to Giancarlo. He has that name Giancarlo on his glove. It is his name. Javi Guerra warming up in the Dodger bullpen. Greg Dobbs at first base does not have a stolen base, and there's Guerra. (0-1) to Stanton, who has 11 home runs. Pops it up. Somebody might have a play, and it's Loney. And holding at third is Sanchez. Big play. And coming down the line, then turning, trying to get back, and they've got Sanchez. And the tag was missed at the plate, and it will be the pitcher running him down, De La Rosa. And the Marlins putting a little shock into the system of Eddie Rodriguez on a foul ball. First of all, they leave 2 men, and then they have the runner at third, thinking about coming to home because Barajas was with Loney. And De La Rosa covered at the plate, and then the fake, as you'll see, and then here he comes, and now he's committed, and they're going to run him down. And John Buck would have been the hitter, but the inning is over, and it's tied at 2. Things tonight as the Marlins are unlucky. The Dodgers are lucky. Watch Casey Blake. He's trying to call time, but the third base umpire, Jim Wolf, sees that there's a play in progress and doesn't grant it, and that eventually led to the rundown and the third out. Dodgers are also fortunate on that bullet off the bat of Logan Morrison that was speared by James Loney. Earlier, Casey Blake made a diving catch of what might have been an extra base hit and a run batted in the 5th inning. So it has been a tough ball game. 2-2 in the 8th, and it will be Jamie Carroll followed by Tony Gwynn and then Rafael Furcal against Ryan Webb. Strike. Carroll grounded to first, fly to right, 0 for 2. Oh and 1. 0 and 2. The big Ryan Webb battling now for a decision, and he's backed up in the bullpen. 0 and 2 to Jamie Carroll. Got him. So Jamie strikes out, 1 away in the 8th inning. And the batter will be Tony Gwynn. Down in the bullpen for the Marlins, Steve Cechek. Steve, a right-hander, warming up.
Tony Gwynn Jr.
Webb is due to bat third in the 9th inning. So they get Cechek up. Loney hitting 195. And bunts foul. Loney with 4 runs batted in. 2 runs, 7 hits for the Marlins, who've done everything but score. Dodgers 2 runs on only 3 hits. And that's going to go down the right field line, foul and out of play. Rafael Percal out on deck. Dodgers scored in the second. Each side scored in the sixth inning. And then the Marlins score in the eighth to tie it up. Well, meanwhile, Andre Ethier talking to Jerry Sands. Jerry hit his first big league home run and also his first grand slam on the recent road trip. Ethier, an old hand now at hitting game-winning home runs. 2-2. Bottom of the eighth. 1-2 the count. The outfield split. They're shading to left field. The gap is in right center. And a fly ball high and shallow, and here comes Coghlan. 2 out in the eighth, and Rafael Percal coming up. Percal struck out, flied out, grounded out, committed an error. Rafael trying to play himself back up to major league level and hitting just 128 right now. Fouled away. 0-1. Rafael has had some big years for the Dodgers ever since he joined the club back in 2006 when he hit 300. He hit as high as 333 briefly, 357. Last year he hit 300. And a strike. 0-2 to Rafael. He'll be 33 in August, facing Ryan Webb. And popped up right side. It'll be the second baseman, Omar Infante. And that will do it for the Dodgers in the eighth inning. And at the end of 8, we have a 2-2 tie. Ninth inning in a 2-2 tie. Ruby De La Rosa, who escaped because of the base running mistake in the eighth inning, goes back to the mound to start the ninth. John Buck, who was left at the plate when Gabby Sanchez was run down. So Buck followed by Infante, and then we'll see about a hitter for Ryan Webb. Ball one. By the way, the ninth inning has not been kind to the Dodgers at all this year. The opposition has scored 43 runs in the 9th inning. The Dodgers have scored only 9. So we have a 2-2 tie, 9th inning. A reminder, tomorrow night, Hiroki Kuroda and probably now Brian Sanchez, who's basically a reliever. And then Sunday, Clayton Kershaw and Ricky Nolasco. Tim Wallach talking to Clayton. Fastball. That was clocked at 99, was that fastball. Clay Hensley, a right-hander, begins to throw in the Florida fish tank, as they call it. 1-2. Buck has grounded out, reached on an error, and popped up. The catcher batting .218. Now De La Rosa allowed a run in the 8th inning because of a leadoff walk. And in the 6th inning, Garland allowed a run because of a leadoff walk. Ground ball covered there, and the out in time. Oh, nice play by Casey Blake. And Omar Infante coming up.
Second baseman, number 13, Omar Infante.
Infante grounded to short twice and lined out to third. Omar hitting .246. And ball one. Infante last year hit .342 against right-handers and had 7 home runs. 2-0 the count. The Marlins sent Dan Uggla to the Braves, and in that deal they acquired Omar Infante. Fouled away. Emilio Bonifacio is out on deck. He would bat for Ryan Webb. 2-1. And ball 3. De La Rosa made 15 pitches in the 8th inning. So he'd made a total of 24, and he's still registering 99 on the gun. And ground ball to Furcal. Right on the money for the second out. So Infante goes 0 for 4. Bonifacio now ready to come up and hit for Webb. Bonifacio is always a threat to bunt. He also has 7 infield hits this year, 3 of them bunts. In the minor leagues for a couple of years, former Dodger Brett Butler was his manager. Bonifacio's from the Dominican. Switch hitter, 0-1, batting .276. He has 1 home run this year. He had 1 home run 2 years ago, no home runs last year. So he is certainly not a long ball threat. His first major league home run, by the way, was an inside park home run opening day 2 years ago. And what a day he had. Not only the inside the park home run, he went 4 for 5. Scored 4 and stole 3. And got it. So down go the Marlins. Nice bit of relief. 2 innings for De La Rosa. And we'll be back in a 2-2 tie. We have a 2-2 tie, and we've reached the bottom of the ninth inning. For young De La Rosa, 2 innings of strong relief, made a total of 29 pitches. And now the Dodgers will have Casey Blake, Andre Ethier, and Matt Kemp. The veteran Clay Hensley on the mound. In there for a strike. Hensley is the answer to a trivia question. We started the night with one about who was the losing pitcher when David Cone pitched his perfect game, and it was Javier Vazquez. 0-2. Well, the question now, who gave up home run number 755 to Barry Bonds that tied Henry Aaron? And the answer is Clay Hensley. Hensley in high school was a 5'8" athlete who played a little center field, ran hurdles, no swing, says Jim Joyce. Then he went to Alvin Community College, and of course Alvin, Texas is famous for being the home of Nolan Ryan, and that's where he made his mark. Giants drafted him in the 8th round. Then the Padres made a deal with Matt Hergis, and they had Clay back in 05. He finally left the Padres 3 years ago and hooked on with the Marlins. And ball 3. Waiting on deck, Andre Ethier, who homered back in the 6th inning. Casey is 0 for 3. Fouled at the plate. So Blake just trying to get aboard. The Dodgers have only 3 hits, 2 of them home runs by Loney and Ethier, and the other a little flare single to right by Rod Barajas. Florida has done everything but score. Big bouncer to the hole. No play. Ramirez is going to make it, but it's too late. That was a tremendous effort by Hanley Ramirez to even make it that close. Tremendous. And Blake hustling, legs it out. Look at Ramirez. He's going away, throwing in the air, right on the money, and Blake just does beat it. So the Dodgers now have the winning run at first base, nobody out, with Ethier and Kemp coming up. Ethier struck out in the 1st inning, walked in the 4th, homered in the 6th. Andre batting .313 with 5 home runs, 23 runs batted in. One hopper into right field. Blake will stop at second, and then overrunning the ball is Stanton, and Blake will go to 3rd. A big error in right field by Mike Stanton. So we assume Blake was going to stop at second base, definitely. So he took 3rd on the error charge to Sandin. And now 1st and 3rd, nobody out. Matt Kemp is coming up, and you can't imagine that they would think of pitching to him. Leona Navarro comes out on deck, so I would expect them to walk Kemp and take their chances with Navarro, and that's what they're going to do. That's really the only thing they could do. So 2 hits and an intentional walk, and the Dodgers have the bases loaded, nobody out. And Leona Navarro will be hitting for De La Rosa. Well, here are the 4 wide ones to Matt Kemp. problems for the Dodgers this year have been with runners in scoring position. There have been three fellas who have been supportive. Jerry Sands hitting .304, Matt Kemp hitting .333, and Andre Ethier hitting .383. But the club average with runners in scoring position is only .211. If you look at tonight's lineup, the hitters 5 through 8. You had Gibbons 083, Loney 196, Barajas 030, and Jamie Carroll 077. So they've not had anything, but they're certainly in a spot where they can get themselves a winning run. Coughlin coming in from center field, and it looks like Eddie's going to load up the infield. Coughlin at one time had been an infielder, and so for him it's not too hard to change his glove for a smaller infielder's glove, and he will just load up the infield. There'll be two men in the outfield, and Hensley will be facing Dion and Navarro. So Blake at third, Ethier at second, Kemp at first. And the Dodgers needing anything at all to get a winning run home. With Navarro batting left-handed. So you have three men on the right side, two on the left, and the infield all the way up. Navarro hitting .184. And ball one. With Hensley coming in relief, this is his 19th game. His earned run average less than 2.5. His problems, he had walked 8 and struck out 8. 1-0. And ball two. So all the heat is on Clay Hensley. Blake 90 feet away from sending everybody home. And base hit. So Deanna Navarro with a bullet to center, and the Dodgers cash it in a game you thought that the Marlins would win only because all of the opportunities that they had. The Dodgers had no opportunity except for the 2 home runs. And then in the 9th inning, they break through to win it. For Diana Navarro, a game-winning base hit. For Hanley Ramirez, a bitter defeat. The Dodgers wind up 3 runs, 6 hits, and 1 error. And the Marlins wind up with 2 runs, 7 hits, and 1 error. The Marlins have only lost 5 games by 1 run. They had won 14, and the Dodgers averaging just a hair under 3 runs in the month of May, get 3 runs tonight, and despite the bear hug by Matt Kemp, Navarro holds on to his life, and the Dodgers win it 3-2. A reminder, tomorrow night, Hiroki Kuroda, and Sunday afternoon, Clayton Kershaw. Stay tuned for Dodgers Live. That'll be coming up next. Good night.